Hello guys, today we'll try to understand difference between SparkSession and SparkContext. Let's go to next slide. If you look this diagram carefully, you have driver in left hand side. Driver, you can submit the applications. It has SparkContext, which receives a configuration parameter. Right hand side you see worker nodes from 1 to n. Within the worker node, you have the executor. Within the executor, you can run tasks. In worker node, you can have more than one executor. And between, if you see, there is a cluster manager. So this cluster manager is managing the machines. It will monitor the health of the machines, and it will know which container has the bandwidth or capacity left to serve the work. So that's where the whole purpose of cluster manager. Let's take example here. One of the user is submitting a application or job to the driver program. Through the different kind of logical and physical plan, it will create a task. Spark context or the driver program will connect with the cluster manager. It will ask the resource based on the how many CPU it is asking, how much memory it is asking. Based on that, we pass this parameter to the configuration. It will allocate the executor to the driver program. Task will run in the, and once they completed, outcome will be shown. So if you see prior to 2.0 or old Spark 1.x, we have single Spark context. The challenges with the Spark context was, let's say for example, someone wants to reuse this application on the job. How to reuse that one? If you see the Spark documentation, they clearly, and it's a recommended approach, each application should have one single context, or per JVM one context. Technically you can create more, but that is not a recommended approach. So basically how to reuse that one? Or suppose in prior 2.0 we want to create a connect with the Hive test or connect Hive, then you have to create a separate Hive context. I want to run a streaming job, I have to use the streaming context API to create that separate context. If I want to connect with the REST or kind of database, structured data, then I have to create SQL context. So these were the challenges prior to 2.0. So 2.0, what happened? 2.0 onward. So they told, okay, let's create session. Spark session. So what will happen? User can, for him, the entry point is Spark session. Spark session is the builder method. If they want to leverage the existing code, they can easily leverage. Let's say for example, you are orchestrating a job through the Airflow, or you want to use the same kind of that application job or the code. You can use some job, let's say some orchestration phase, you can restart that. So that kind of flexibility is there. You can pass the parameter, rest of things Spark session will take care. So it kind of if you see, it is giving you multiple sessions for different users. whether it's a concurrent user or multiple user, they want to run the same code without any problem, they can run. So that is the came in 2.0 onward. So multiple sessions can be created. And also, let's say you want to create Hive context, streaming, or SQL context. You don't need to create a separate context. You can pass those configuration to the Spark session. The builder method will take care for you rest of thing. So it's kind of, will not say layer top of the Spark context, but it is giving kind of flexibility and advantage where independent jobs can be created from the same common code. If you want to pass different configuration, you can pass. You don't need to create a separate context, Hive context, streaming context, SQL context. You can use the Spark session, right? Let's understand the difference in the next slide. If you see this slide, what we are talking about, since Spark 2.x, a new entry point called Spark session was got created. In the old version, 3 entry point were Spark context, SQL context, Hive context, which we talked in previous slide. Spark session provides a single point of entry to interact with the underlying Spark functionality and allow programming Spark with data frame and dataset API. All the functionality available with the Spark context are also available in Spark session. That is what we were talking about. In order to use the API for SQL, Hive, and streaming, no need to create a separate context as Spark session includes all the APIs. You don't need to worry. You can reuse that context. Also, you want to create a separate context through the builder. You can pass those parameters through the builder method, in Java builder method pattern. It will take care. But in Spark context, it was not option. Spark context was used as a channel to access all Spark functionality. The Spark driver program uses Spark context to connect to the cluster through a resource manager. Spark conf, if you see here, is required to create the Spark context object, which stores configuration parameter like application name, these things, application number of cores, memory size, and executor running on the worker node. So in order to use the API, you have to create streaming. Separate context needs to be created, but in this case, not required. So if I summarize that, Spark session gives a interaction. So multiple users or concurrent users, if they want, they can leverage the same context. They want to create different kind of context. They don't need to create the way it was happening 1.x. So these are the major differences. Technically, how you have to create. So this is the code. You have to import the Spark session, and then you have to use the builder. This is the pattern in Java, and then you can pass your configuration, and then you can create what kind of context you want to create. If you go to previous 1.x, this was there. So you have to create Spark conf and pass the Spark conf into the context. Coming on the configuration parameter, yes, these are the some of the configuration parameter we use for the memory management in real world scenario. So these are the configuration. So basically what we are saying that it's not a wrapper. Generally we see a lot of places you will see they put a wrapper. It's kind of creating a multiple session with the end users, and we can leverage our Spark context intelligently. So I hope you understand the difference between Spark session and Spark context, and thank you for watching, and please subscribe the channel. Thank you.